Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that's been popping up all over the internet, this whole 717 phenomenon.
It all kicks off with this weird feeling people are talking about online. It's this sense that, I don't know, maybe the universe is trying to tell them something. Like one person said, and I love this quote, "It's getting to the spooky point."
So what is really going on here? In this explainer, we're not going to give you just one simple answer. Nope. Instead, we're going to dive into something way more interesting, the amazing ways we humans find meaning in the world.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the phenomenon itself. Because this isn't just one or two people seeing a number. It's a shared thing that's happening again and again.
Seriously, people are seeing 717 times everywhere. It's popping up so much that it's starting to feel like way more than a coincidence. I'm talking digital clocks, you glance at the time and it's 717, license plates on the car in front of you, flight times, receipt timestamps, you name it. Some people even say it's showing up in their dreams. Wild, right?
Okay, so you keep seeing the same number over and over. What do? Well, for a lot of folks, the first stop is numerology. This ancient idea that numbers aren't just for counting. They hold symbolic meaning, like they have their own special messages just for us.
But here's the thing, even if you look into numerology, there's not just one easy answer. You go online and you'll find totally different systems. One, called pentagram numerology, breaks it down and says it's about letting goodness guide your self-awareness. But then another one, expanded numerology, has a different take. It says 717 is a reminder to focus on your goals and, keep your feet on the ground.
One of the coolest ideas to come out of all this is this concept of living your salt. It's this really poetic way of saying, be yourself, live your life, your true essence, not the one somebody else wants for you.
And the plot thickens. The rabbit hole goes even deeper. In Hebrew, where letters also double as numbers, 717 is connected to words that mean to pluck or to gather. So that just adds a whole other layer to this mystery, doesn't it?
Okay, let's pivot. We're going to switch gears completely now and look at this whole thing through a totally different lens, the Bible.
All right, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. The number 717, as a standalone number, it's not actually in the Bible. But when you start digging around, looking at related numbers and using biblical study tools, you uncover this incredible contrast, this duality. You find themes of both, like final judgment and ultimate comfort, two sides of the same coin.
Check this out. There's this super important tool for Bible study called Strong's Concordance. And if you look up entry number 717, it's the Greek word for Armageddon. Yeah, that Armageddon, the place of the final epic battle between good and evil. That's pretty intense, right?
But then you flip over to the verse, Revelation 7:17, and the tone just completely changes. You get one of the most hopeful, comforting messages in the entire Bible. It's this beautiful promise of a future where there are no more tears, where a loving shepherd leads the way. Talk about a contrast.
And if we look at history, just to get some context, the year 717 BC was, it was a really rough time. The not-so-great King Ahaz was ruling in Judah, and their neighbor, the Kingdom of Israel, had just been totally conquered. It was just a period of chaos, judgment, and loss.
So let's just recap. We've got all these different, almost contradictory meanings, being your true self, judgment, comfort, chaos, and they're all coming from the same three digits, which leads to a much bigger question, right? How do we make meaning out of something like this?
Well, it's not just some random feeling you get. It's actually often a very structured, very deliberate process. This is true for individuals who are just looking for a little guidance in their own lives, and it's true for entire communities building their faith from the ground up.
On a personal level, there's often a clear method to it. It's not just about, reading a passage. It's about really digging in, pulling out the key ideas, and asking yourself some really tough questions like, who is God in this verse? And, okay, what does this say about me? And then, the most important part, actually applying it to your life.
And when we talk about whole communities, this process can be absolutely world-changing. I mean, take the Church of God in Christ, for example. The very name of their church came from what the founder described as a divine revelation tied to a specific verse. And then later, a really powerful spiritual experience was seen as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. And that one interpretation totally reshaped the church into the global denomination it is today. Incredible.
Okay, so after all that, where does this leave us with our original mystery, the 717 phenomenon?
We've looked at numerology, we've looked at the Bible, we've talked about how we humans construct meaning,
And we're right back where we started. What does 717 really mean?
And, well, the truth is, there probably isn't one single universal meaning hiding in these three numbers. The different interpretations we've seen, they totally contradict each other. It all depends on the lens you're using to look at it.
So here's what I think is the real takeaway. The story of 717, it isn't really about the number at all. It's about us. It's about our deep, fundamental human need to find patterns and make sense of the world. It's like our brains are running this incredible pattern recognition software all the time. You might have heard of this. Psychologists sometimes call it confirmation bias. Once you start looking for something, you start seeing it everywhere.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. The number 717 is just one example, one pattern that's grabbed people's attention. So I'll leave you with this. What are the patterns that are guiding your world? What are the signs and symbols that give your life meaning?